Right, a very good morning to you, the viewer of West Nile TV. It's 7:30. You're most welcome for this edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV. And this is where I want to welcome you on board from wherever you are watching us from. It could be in the different parts of West Nile sub-region, actually Lango, Karamoja, and the entire northern Uganda. We want to say thank you so much. A very good morning to you. Welcome aboard. And for those of you who are in the other parts of the world, I really want to say you're most welcome as well, not forgetting those who are still watching us within Uganda, but in other parts of the country, in eastern, in northern, in western, and also in other parts of the region. In that, I really want to say thank you so much. You are most welcome for this edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show, where we are going to be discussing a lot of pertinent issues happening right away from the region. I will be touching on something that is happening at national level, and summarizing the day as always will be with the world of international news, and summarizing it as always also will be the sports updates, because we don't want to leave you out when it comes to sports results. That is entirely where we shall be giving you the results of some of the games that did go on yesterday and those that are still to come today, and all that will be coming through later on. And that's where I want to seriously say you are most welcome aboard. For those of you who are also just coming back to the region for the first season, or you just have moved out, I really want to say welcome to the different areas. We are here to keep you informed within this period and this is where we are going to be having a lot of issues and a lot of discussions, all to make sure that you are first of all informed, and then secondly entertained, and above all we want to keep you in the know of what's happening within your areas and outside the areas where you reside in, and that's where we here to also do that for you. And yesterday we did see Arua district commemorating the World AIDS Day, combined with the celebrations of the 16 days of activism. And remember, we have been seeing the month and the days of the 16 days of activism running. That is from November 25th up to the 10th. We have been seeing that happening, and today is actually when the days will be coming to an end. But yesterday we did see Arua district on Monday celebrating their 16 days of activism. That was at Vura sub-county, and that is exactly what we did see. Remember, the 16 days of activism come to raise awareness about what is happening within your areas, and this is in your homesteads. We are saying no to violence, because statistics have shown that West Nile sub-region is at the verge of an increase that is of the 16 days of activism. And within this period, and as the year is coming to an end, we have a tendency of witnessing a number of what we call GBV cases. But ranging from, this is where we do not want to see this happening, ranging from child neglect, we see a lot of domestic violence, we see violence also in other forms in homes, because if you look at it, it's not only what we call physical violence, there is also physical violence. It's also happening within our families. So we need to also join hands and eradicate this vice out, because it is really happening and destroying our families. And usually we have a saying in this region that if two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers. So that means as you parents are fighting, it is also really going to be negatively impacting on the children, because the children are going to be suffering of where to go next and who to reach out to. It's really something which I want to say is very difficult. For those of you who have been to families where there's domestic violence, you really know how it is and why we must also really join hands and end this vice, because if at all there's no peace in families, definitely the man may decide to sort of let go of the woman, and the woman may also let go of the man and go out to other families, and then go out setting up their own family. Then you realize that at the end of the day, this first of all brings questions. People start maybe asking questions, and society starts judging on this person is bad, this one is that and this one is that. So it really costs a lot. It costs the family, and then at the end of the day, you really see there's no peace of mind in the families. And that's why we're saying let's join hands and say no to gender-based violence. As the 16 days of activism are ending, which actually ending today, we want to say that let this not be only with this day. Let's ensure that this day climaxes very well. Let's ensure that this does not happen. And even if after 16 days of activism, we shouldn't want to see, we really want to not to see what is happening in the society continue, because we wouldn't also really want to see issues of domestic violence happen, even if after the 16 days of activism, which we have been there sensitizing the communities about. That would also really be a plus for us, and that would be quite good for the world, because if you look at gender-based violence, and together with the World AIDS Day, which we did celebrating yesterday, You realize the two have an interconnection. The two are like cousins. As one person said, that if you look at gender-based violence, then you realize that it is actually a cousin to domestic violence. It is a cousin to AIDS. It's a cousin to other issues. So I think it's important for us to sort of make sure that as we are celebrating these 16 days of activism, let's make sure that it does not continue to happen, and that will be very, very much good for us to slowly see that continuing to happen. And yesterday we did see the Chief Justice asking also really Mr. Semakade to apologize to the DPP also for the remarks which he made, many also termed also really as very, very much bad. Now we did see the Chief Justice Alfonso Winnie-Dolo in Moroto solely asking the Uganda State President, that is Isaac Semakade, to apologize to the Director for Public Prosecutions, that is Jane France Abodo, for the remarks he allegedly made that is already that have also been deemed derogatory. And the Chief Justice made these remarks speaking during the 5th Northern Annual Bar Bench Law Dinner at Hotel Africana in Moroto District, and Justice Owini-Dolo urged reconciliation, emphasizing its importance, that is for fostering civility within the legal profession. And that is exactly what we did see the Chief Justice Owini-Dolo solely asking Mr. Semakade to do in that. Now this call also on Mr. Semakade to apologize is controversial, considering the matter is already before court and the Uganda society has not pleaded guilty, and that is where we did see the president also not pleading guilty to some of those accusations that have been made towards him. And now it's sorely at odds with the recent remarks by Chief Justice who distanced himself from commenting on matter before court, also which also will breach the principle of fairness and the subsidized social law in there. Now addressing the audience of legal professionals, judicial officers and local leaders, he offered to mediate the process proposing traditional reconciliation through Karamoja elders. Now the appeal follows public uproar over Semakade's remarks, also that which he made during the organized also the forum by the People's Freedom Front in Kampala in the month of November, in the date of 18th, that is also in this year. And these remarks have not been well with a section of the members of the public who have also judged, and others have also asked Uganda Law Society President Isaac Semakade to first of all apologize, then secondly, he should be resigning from that position, because as a person of that top caliber, he is not expected to make remarks also which can be deemed very, very much bad. Now on December 4th of this year, lawyer Joshua Biamazima and Tony Tumukunde filed a complaint, that's at Buganda also court road court, where they also accused Semakade of insulting the modesty of a woman, and that is what we did see. And now the case also is presided over by the Chief Magistrate, that is Ronald Kaizi, has attracted significant public interest. Now, in addition, members of parliament also from Karamoja sub-region, DP Abodo's also region also have demanded an apology, condemning also really the remarks as vulgar and disrespectful. And now the judiciary has classified that Owini-Dolo's comments also did not breach the statutory rule, as he merely also encouraged the conciliation. Now, previously, Chief Justice Owini-Dolo also has refrained from commenting on matters outside jurisdiction, and during his also the recent event in Gulu City, he declined to comment about the status to charge opposition leader Dr. Kiza Besigye also, and his co-accused Hajo Bedutale in a military court so statement that he only addresses matters before him. That is also something we did see happening. And we did see also judiciary spokesperson James Mawanda Remy also explaining that also alternative dispute resolution is permissible under Uganda's criminal justice system and in line with Article 106 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. That means what we call the ADR is possible. And if you look at the ADR, this is where you can't be able to solely address your issues outside courts. It is allowed, and that's where you go out and sit down. And for this case, maybe the elders of Karamoja will be able to solely mediate justice between the Ugandan president and the person who also is following up on this case in the that's Francis Abodo, and that's exactly what we are following up on, and we hope at the right time this matter will be also addressed in there. And that is one thing which we did see, and Mr. Semakade has also been known for his outspoken demeanor, which also not yet also respond publicly that is the Chief Justice's call, and that is what we did see happening. Now legal experts And the public are closely also monitoring his next move, which could also shape the resolution of conflicts within Uganda's justice system. Now, observers note that Chief Justice intervention underscores a broader conversation about civility in public discourse and the balance between free speech and professional decorum. That is exactly what we did see. And several persons, including Ethics and Integrity Minister Rose Lily Akelo, asked Samakadi also to apologize, while a section of the Ugandan Society Council distanced themselves from the remarks also which he made in there. And notable attendees included DPP President Francis Abodo, Lady Chief Justice, that is Mary Ikit, Assistant Registrar of Moroto High Court Circuit, that is Nasif Umar Mubiru, and Chief Magistrate Abraham Achok Modin, and the Uganda Law Society Vice President Anthony Asimwe, who also attended that meeting in there. Now also present, we are human rights lawyer. We did see Nicholas Apilo attending, regional politicians like Ramingo Achia, and also representative from Joint Security Forces, as well as some members of the public also embracing the activity in there. And that is exactly what we did see happening. And that is what we are keenly following up on, as we hope at the right time that this matter should be also addressed once and for all in there. And that is exactly what we are keenly following up on. And we expect at the right time this also will be addressed in there. Now in Gulu City, we are seeing Gulu children transform local toys into robots with Walkover's innovative approach. And that is exactly what we are seeing, as children in Gulu are also redefining traditional toys, transforming them into electric-powered robots as they embrace the future, that is of artificial intelligence, under the guidance of Wakoba Education Foundation. And that is what we did see. And now this competence-based learning model is inspiring young people and innovators to address real-world challenges using technology. And if you look at technology today, you will absolutely, it is high time that we embrace it, because there is no way you're going to be running away from technology, as we are facing risks, first of all, of uncertainty, because if you look at artificial intelligence, it's also a great concern that the world is likely to encounter today. And that is something which I feel at the end of the day also we need to also talk about, because if you look at artificial intelligence, and then you will be able to realize that also it's high time that we embrace it, because if you do not embrace it, then it's going to be a great concern for us. And today, many businesses have also been tasked on artificial intelligence. First of all, look at the cameras. Most of the shops today are having cameras to do monitoring work, because man may not be efficient in monitoring, because at one time, man will have to sleep. The mind may also skip out. But today, with also the issues of artificial intelligence, we are seeing that possible. Now in Gulu City, we are seeing children also becoming innovators, and this is quite commendable, and we must appreciate all the stakeholders who are making it possible. And we are seeing 17-year-old Doreen Laker is among the trailblazers. After completing her O-level exams, she bypassed the typical holiday break to work on what we call a groundbreaking invention. That is a prototype, also smart dustbin, and that is exactly what we are seeing. And my appeal to all the vacists within this period is also that let's use this time to build ourselves. If you look at Doreen Laker, a 17-year-old also already in this Gulu City who is among the innovators, then you will also she's one person who has skipped the holiday to be part of the innovations, and this is quite good. And I really want to say this also shouldn't remain with her. We need more young innovators. By the time you go back to school, you already know what to do, and you will be having exactly where to start from. And the bin opens automatically to dispose of rubbish and can separate waste from dry dust using water sensor and thermometer, and that is exactly what we are seeing happen. Now, Lakere's mentor, Joram Ocheng Jesse, an information technology expert at Wakoba, envisions her work evolving into also what we call interactive application, and that is exactly what we are seeing. And once fully functional, the smart dustbin could significantly improve waste management and hygiene in the society. And Wakoba Education Foundation encourages children to merge artificial intelligence with traditional toys and also tools, creating robots that also really can simplify tasks, addressing the pressing issues of garbage. Today, if you look at garbage, many of these cities are today suffering from garbage, and that's why we need such innovators. Recently, we had an issue also, and this year will be remembered for that. The tragic incident happened at Stacey, which claimed very many lives in there, and this is one issue of these years. And if we will be summarizing the year, then definitely we shall be talking about this. There's no way we are not going to be skipping the Chitezi incident, and we don't talk about it this year. If at all we are going to be summarizing this year, and then definitely we shall be also summarizing it with also some of these issues that happen. And today, if we talk about innovations, most especially by these young people who are also making dustbins that can separate garbage, then it's quite good. And this would also, at the end of the day, maybe in future also address the concern of garbage, which is really a great concern to many of the cities. Starting from Kampala, Gulu, a rural city, many of them are suffering from issues of garbage. And garbage remains a great concern, and I believe at the right time, this also will be also addressing some of those issues. Now, toys such as cars, aeroplanes, and farm tools are being reimagined to incorporate technology. And once also the project involves also a 13-year-old Stephen Ojok, whose toy making skills help support his family. And meanwhile, parents like also Stella Apio have witnessed life-changing impacts on their children. And Apio's epileptic son, who craft also toys, also from wires, recently also earned shilling 20,000 from his creations. And that means these people are already on the way of earning livelihood, because livelihood is something also which is very, very much difficult. But at the end of the day, if at all we start imagining and training our children that way, then at the right time, we are going to be seeing children who are very much innovative and children who are also really on the right course in here. Now, Marion Akola, a tutor at Wokoba, highlights the cultural significance of toy making in African communities, and that is where we did see also really talking about this, because if you look at the toys, definitely they help also the children playing. And once, as a parent, you buy a toy, and this is one of the gifts which you can't be able to gift a child, and the child will never forget you. And now Ben Okorach, a celebrated Makerere University architecture graduate, also draws inspiration from these local creations as he aims also to scale Wakoba's approach across Uganda and Africa, empowering children with practical skills for innovation and entrepreneurship as well, because what these children are going to be inventing will have also the monetary return as well, because after inventing, then definitely they will be also looking for market to sell some of these issues. Now, by integrating traditional African ingenuity also by cutting also edge artificial intelligence, these young minds in Gulu are providing local solutions that can also have a global impact. And as children also with like Lake and also Jok transform their communities, Wakoba's efforts illustrate what we call a hopeful future for Africa's youth, and where traditional crafts evolve into powerful tools for change. And that is exactly what we want to see happening. We want to see also really many children solely become agents solely of that. And that is exactly what we are really summarizing this minutes with. And yesterday we did see the NRM also launching what we call their digitization process. That means they are going to be also transforming their registrars from the from what we call the papers to online, and that's where target also where we did see also them also strategizing to have also the huge number also be also undertaking this exercise. And that's where we did see yesterday the director for finance and administration, that's Hajat Medina Naham Ojale, moving also into many of the places also to make sure that they make sure that this also is a success in the Western sub-region. And that's exactly what we are seeing. And many of the political parties are already restructuring ahead of 2006. And if you look at the 2006, then we are not very far away from that. And that's exactly what we are seeing, as NRM is already restructuring ahead of the time to sort of make sure that they reorganize ahead of the 2026 elections. And that is exactly what we are seeing. And we hope at the right time also that will be possible for other political parties to learn from. And I really want to say the FDC did the same. At one time we did see the EPC doing the same, and DP as well did the same. And now we are seeing NRM as well embracing the same. That means digitization is the way to go for these political parties. First of all, to also understand how many numbers of voters they have. Then secondly, this exercise also, according to them, is going to be helping in ensuring a free and fair election, and then also ensuring transparency in these elections. And that's where one of these days so we shall be also expecting officials from the National Western Movement Party to also come up on board and also talk about this. Now, the Forum for Democratic Change Party has criticized its exclusion, that's from opposition activities, with Party President Patrick Oboy, describing it as a deliberate attempt to sideline the group in the fight for democratic freedoms, and that's what we did see Amurat complaining about FDC being excluded from opposition's BSJ's resolutions, and that is exactly what we did see happening. Now, in a post shared via X, Amurat revealed that the party was not involved in key also opposition engagements, accusing organizers also of seeking to isolate the FDC from the broader opposition movement. And I really want to say this also is having an implication. If you look at also what's happening within the opposition, then I want to say this is also going to be widening the gap, most especially among the opposition members. Now, Amurat also sends the party from areas Lukwago's, also Lord Mayor, also not Lord Mayor, not that Lukwago also does not represent the party in its political strategy, and that's exactly what we did see. And Amurat also remarks come as opposition groups intensify criticism of the arrest and also military trial of Dr. Kiza Besje and his friend, that is Obed Lutali Haji, and that's exactly what we did see happening. Now on Monday, opposition leaders also reconvened at Parliament and issued a joint statement condemning the duo's abduction from Kenya and later on also being tried in Uganda at the military court, which also many opposition members have not been happy about, because if you look at Obed Lutali, is not a military man, and then secondly, they were arrested from another country, and that's exactly what we are seeing happening. Now the opposition called on Chief Justice Owini Dolo and also the Supreme Court to transfer all politically motivated also cases involving civilians to competent courts, and they also demanded that the immediate also distribution of charges against Besije and Kamulega, or the alternative, their trial also it must also be undertaken from civilian courts, and that is what we did see happen. Now the joint statement was already signed by representatives. We are from also by members from National Unity Platform. We did see People's Progressive Party and Justice also Forum, which is also known as GEMA, among other political parties where FDC was not involved, something which also did not go on well with some of the leaders also in the FDC in there. Now, Besije and Kamulega had been attending also really what we call a book launch in Kenya before the Incommunicado detention and forced return to Uganda, and this is exactly where we did see many people have been demanding. And remember, they had gone for the book launch of former Kenya Justice Minister, that is Karua Martha, also who also really was recently in Uganda, to also really make sure that they also really look for justice. That is for these accused persons, and that's exactly what we did see. And their charges also, among others, include unlawful possession of firearms, carry the possibility also of the death sentence, and that's also the death sentence already if at all once found guilty. And that is exactly what we did see happening. And remember, they also have been accused of also wanting to destabilize the country by also really stopping the peace which also really is happening in this country. And that's exactly what we did see happening. And we hope at the right time also we shall be also really addressing that matter in there. Now, young mother struggles to care for son born without eyes. Another story that we're seeing on the papers this morning, where Sarah Nakato, a 20-year-old mother, is facing an uphill battle caring for a 4-year-old son, that's Peter Biakatonda, who was born with also really without eyes, a rare condition in which also the child is born without eyes. And this is something which we did see happening, and medically the term is what we call anophthalmia, and anophthalmia is also a condition where a person is born without a child. And this is also a rare condition in which Nakato also has found herself in, giving birth to a child who is now 4 years without eyes. And Nakato delivered Peter at Mubende Regional Referral Hospital in 2020, where doctors immediately diagnosed him with also the condition, and that's exactly what we did see. And now, since the diagnosis, life has been constant struggle for that Nakato, and in these 4 years, she has been taking care of this child who is without eyes. And Nakato dismissed rumors suggesting that what we call conservative use could also have caused her son's condition, and said, "I am only 20 years and I've never used family planning methods. And as some people have wrongly also believed, neither my family or nor my husband's family has history of this condition." And that's what we did see Nakato also rejecting those issues, because many times, if at all children are born with these conditions, the society is very much quick to judge that this is family effect. These are effects of family plannings. These are the pills that you have been using. Maybe these are the injections that you have been using. But according to this 20-year-old, she has never used all this. So I think it's sort of something we must also be able to talk about, because many times people have been facing challenges in the society, most especially as a result of stigma. That is exactly what we did see. And Maureen Nagawa, Peter's grandmother, highlighted the urgency of the situation and said that my grandson needs a lot of care and he often asks for food and yet his mother doesn't earn a living. We appeal to anyone who reads this article to help also, and this is also where we are also hoping for her to also start a small shop for the mother, and that is exactly what would also enable her to also earn money also at the end to take care of this child. And Ruth Naboeteme, the South Division Councillor for Kabatalenga, noted that this is the second case of a child with severe disability in the area, and this is exactly what we did see. And now the council also emphasized the need for counseling of Nakato, who is enduring a challenging life, and that is exactly what we did see. And what are the medical people saying? And this is a condition also which is said to be rare. And if you look at also medically, John Busobozi, a medical officer at Abner Hospital in Mubende, explained that an ophthalmia is caused by failure of the neural tube to form the eyes also during fetal developments, and that is exactly what we are seeing medical personnel also talking about. Now you know that such conditions are more common among mothers giving birth at older age, or those with genetic what we call predispositions, and that's exactly what we see as a cause for such conditions where children can be born without eyes. And regarding the possibility of an eye transplant, suppose it's not feasible in their cases, and that means this child will have to live without sight because the conditions are not possible, and that is exactly what we are keenly following up on. And at the moment, maybe it's not possible, but in future we hope something can be done, because really to live without eyes, it's really a challenging situation, and that's exactly what we are praying for. And we hope at the right time also maybe medical personnel also will be addressing and doing something to make sure that also that does not happen. And that is exactly what we are seeing, and that's exactly what we're also going to be stopping with as we get to move to Busoga sub-region, where the Chabazinga has been appointed UNAIDS Goodwill Ambassador to combat teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy indeed remains a great concern. Now where we have seen the Iseban to Chabazinga Busoga, William Gadbula Nadiope has been appointed UNAIDS Goodwill Ambassador to lead the fight against teenage pregnancy in Uganda, and this is where we did see the king now being appointed as UNAIDS ambassador to also spearhead the campaign against teenage pregnancy. And if you look at Busoga sub-region, this is where cases of what we call early pregnancy is also overwhelming, and everyone said the appointment comes timely, where we are having challenges for, first of all, of early marriages, then teenage pregnancy. Now the campaign aims to address the root cause of teenage pregnancy, including poverty, also what we call absentee parenting, and limited access to reproductive health services, with a special focus to Busoga sub-region. And initiative is titled as Ambassador Nempengo, is what we are seeing as the campaign. What we call Ambassador Nempengo, that means men are the pillars, seeks to also engage men and boys in transforming negative societal trends by promoting their active involvement in parenting, family leadership, and community building. And this comes after reports indicating that Busoga is among the regions with the highest rate of teenage pregnancy and child marriages in Uganda. And child marriage also is a great concern, most especially for Busoga, West Nile, Karamoja, and Acholi. This way we are seeing a number of challenges. So now Haj Osman Ahmed Nur, the second Deputy Prime Minister of Busoga Kingdom and Head of Partnerships, highlighted that Chabazinga's also commitment to cultural, societal, and what we call social plus economic transformations. And that is also where we shall be seeing the king join the campaign to make sure that this also is addressed. Now the campaign is a joint effort by the Chabazinga and the Minister of Health, the Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, and other partners. And he will be spearheading also these initiatives as a development organization established solely by the Chabazinga's office in 2003. And now that's exactly what we are following up on. Sometimes people listen to their leaders, mostly the cultural leaders, more than any other leader. That's why it is always critical for us to involve the leaders, the cultural leaders, in some of these initiatives. And that is exactly what we are seeing. And we also expect other cultural leaders also to be involved in some of these government programs, and also some of these other programs, so that will also be very, very much good. Because at one time I want to see the Lugarakari Paramount Chief be involved in some of these programs. I want to see the Aluru Chief also being involved. And if you look at the Aluru King, definitely also we want to see him also at one time be involved. And the move to Mali, definitely the Paramount Chief that side also should be involved. And this will also, at the end of the day, make it possible for us to attain the results that we want. Because many times some of these believers, maybe followers, listen to the paramount chiefs more than any other person. And that's why it becomes critical for us to be involving them in some of these government campaigns. With that, we are coming to the end of this hour. It is the KOKOLIRIKO live show with me, Faris Majid. Today happens to be a Tuesday edition. And this is also the 10th day into the month of December. How many days are we counting down to the Christmas? How many days are we counting down to the end of the year? How much have you done as the year is coming to an end? And what are some of those achievements that you achieved at the beginning? And now as the year is coming, you must also be making assessments. With that, we take a short commercial break. When we bounce back, the discussions will be able to follow. My name is Faris Majid. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Echichi? Go wangula. Nsasula emyezi 3 nempangula. Hey! Ha!
Abayo, ubatachi?
Subscribe for 3 months to any package of your choice or grab an Azam TV kit and pay for 3 months and stand a chance to win life-changing rewards. Android smart TVs, fridges, motorcycles, and that is not all. You could walk away with free subscription or the grand prize of 20 million Ugandan shillings in cash. Yes, 20 million grand prize. Subscribe today and enter the draw. For more information, 031 2308 900 or visit any Azam TV dealer near you.
Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back into the final hour, which is the second hour of the show, where we are going to be discussing a lot of issues. And yesterday, we also had developments coming out. Remember, recently we did see Martha Karua, a Kenyan lawyer who was also interested in practicing in Uganda to also defend Kano retired Kizza Besigye. Now the Law Council has denied Karua the applications to practice in Uganda amid also political controversy, and that is exactly what we did see, as the Uganda Law Council has rejected also an application that is also from a Kenyan lawyer seeking temporary also admission to practice in the country. And remember, she was also to lead the team of also lawyers to also represent Kano retired Kizza Besigye and his colleague Obed Utale, who are picked from Kenya, and this is also where they're facing challenges of also being tried in the military court. First of all, for possession of ammunition and also wanting to destabilize the country, and today they are being tried in the military court. And Martha Karua, the former Justice Minister of Kenya, was also interested in also leading the defense or team also of Kano retired Kizza Besigye and his counterpart. But really, we're now seeing that also being denied. And remember, Kano Kizza Besigye, together with Obed Utale, we are actually picked from Kenya, where they'd gone for a book launch for the same lady also in there, but that is also now impossible, as the Uganda Law Council has rejected also to grant what we call the temporary application also to practice in Uganda. Now the applicant also hailing from a common law jurisdiction sought to represent, that is Dr. Kizza Besigye, in a high-profile case before Uganda's General Court Martial. And now the case has heightened political tensions in both Uganda and Kenya, given Dr. Kizza Besigye's prominence as an opposition leader facing serious charges. Now the Uganda Law Council cited Uganda's signatory also status to the mutual recognition agreement within the East African community as a critical factor. Now without this agreement, the cross-border legal practice remains at the Council's discretion, rather at also a right, rather than a right, and that's exactly what we are seeing happen. Now historically, such permissions in Uganda have only been granted for civil cases, not criminal matters. Now the court raised concerns about the potential also politically also motivations behind the application involvement, given the politically also charged nature of the case. Now additional the applicant also the actions upon also arrival in Uganda further complicated also the situation, and that's exactly what we did see. And on December 2nd of this year, the foreign lawyer appeared at the General Court Martial alongside Ugandan attorney also Ugandan lawyer Elias Lukwago, introduced as the lead counsel for Dr. Kizza Besigye, despite lacking proper certification. Now the following day, the applicant and Mr. Lukwago, joined by journalists, attempted to also unsaid also meeting with the Chief Justice to expedite a ruling related to Dr. Kizza Besigye's case. And the encounter marked a tense confrontation with the security also personnel, which was also criticized by Uganda Council as unprofessional and also indicative as a result of some misunderstanding also, and that's exactly what we did see. But now we did see the council conclude that these also actions breached professional conduct and cast doubt also on the applicant's motives for seeking also to practice justice in Uganda, and that's exactly what we did see, as it is so that it underscored the importance of upholding professional standards and respecting the legal framework of foreign jurisdiction. Now the rejection surely of the applicant also reflects the Council's commitment to maintaining the integrity of Uganda's legal system and ensuring that the political factors do not also undermine the professional processes, and that is exactly what we are seeing happening in this case, also involving the retired Kano, that's Kizza Besigye, together with his friend Haji Obed Utale, who were picked from also Kenya and Nairobi in there and then brought to Uganda, but they are still facing charges in the military courts, and that is what we are still following up on. And we want to see how, of course, this will be ending, but at the right time, we shall be letting you know of what also unfolds and what comes out of there. And that is exactly what we are also going to be posing a discussion with And if you look at also really some of these issues, then you realize a lot more is happening, and we hope at the right time we shall be seeing an end also to this case in there, and that would also be very much good for us to also really make sure that we live in a society also really where maybe doubts, first of all, issues also really wouldn't also want to be politicized, because many times also when such issues arise, people also tend to run very much quickly to politics. Also as a factor involving and also jeopardizing that, and that is also something which we feel would also be very, very much good. Now, former Uganda Law Society President, that is Fiona Nabasa, has sued Uganda Law Society over Judicial Service Commission job, and that is exactly what we did see, where Uganda Law Society former Law President, together with also its head of also the election committees, have been dragged to court seeking orders to stop its forthcoming elections, scheduled for December 17th, also in there, which is also this week, and that's also something which we are keen for, because there is a 10th. That means anytime from now we are going to be seeing it happening. Now, in the petition filed also as umbrella body, and also Mr. Moses Mwase for allegedly omitting her name from the final nomination list for the representative of Uganda Society to the Judicial Service Commission, to which she was solely also lawful and which was solely legal, and that is what we did see happening. Now, the former Uganda Society President is seeking a court order against the respondents, squashing their impunged decision to exclude us from the list of duly nominated candidates for the elective position of Law Society representative to the Judicial Service Commission, and that is exactly what we did see. Remember, this issue has also been there. Recently, we did also see the incoming president also talking about this. So it means this matter is already there, and that means we are keenly following, and we shall be letting you know how this, of course, will be addressed. But as per now, we are seeing Ms. Nabasa also seeks an order directing the respondents to hold elections of also Uganda Society representatives, the Judicial Service Commission, in compliance with the principle of equity, neutrality, and also really in the accordance with the Uganda Society Act and its rules. And according to application in court, Ms. Nabasa also states that on November 26th, Uganda Law Society issued also a publicized notice of election of Judicial Service Commission nominees of the Uganda Law Society to also be held on December 17th, wherein political candidates were invited to also submit their prerequisite requirements for their nominations, and that's exactly what we did see, where court documents revealed Ms. Nabasa received a call from Mr. Mwase informing her of an official written complaint against her nomination. She was also promptly returned to the nomination room at 7 p.m. where she allegedly complaining was summoned and denied making their complaint. With no complaint substantiated, Ms. Nabasa resumed her campaigns, and that's exactly what we did see happening in that. That means definitely we shall be also letting you know ahead of this, and that's where we shall be also coming back to inform you of how this matter will be ending, because if you look at the Judicial Service Commission, definitely there's a position where a representative also has to come from the Uganda Law Society, and that is exactly what we are keenly following up and want to see how this, of course, will be ending. And we shall be, at the end of the day, also making sure that we talk about this. Now, leaving that discussion aside, family 6 answers. After missing daughter is found dead and lover is now being arrested, and that's exactly what we are seeing. As Ruth K. Arau, a 27-year-old youngest of 7 children, had a promising future also after graduating with bachelor's degree in procurement from Chambago University in 2021. However, 3 years later, her family is not left searching for answers after she went missing on November 22nd, as her body was found the following day. Really very, very much sad. And remember, this also happened near the railway line in Bukasa, a Kampala suburb. And what exactly happened? Now her alleged boyfriend, that is the owner of both, a 49-year-old, has been arrested and currently is also in custody at Kira Division Police Headquarters under investigation, and both, however, denies any involvement in that death. And the police spokesman Kituma Rusoki did not also respond to attempts to contact him for comments. However, also a detective also familiar also with the case confirmed that the suspect remains in custody, and that is also what we did see. And when asked also when Obos was asked on also would be retained in court, the reply also is that it will take time, and that is exactly what we are seeing happening. And now the victim's family shared that after completing her undergraduate studies Arao left home also of her elder brother, that's Benson Mwata, who raised and supported her through education, and that's actually where she left and went to Oboth. That is also in the Janda Kira division. According to the family, the couple's relationship had become toxic, and Arao had planned to move out and start also a new life, also in a new residence, that is Sireka division, also by December 1st, using also her savings from her job at a company in the Luzira area of Kampala. And that's exactly what we did see. And then one say gender-based violence today is happening. Even if you are not yet officially married, even if you are doing also what we call just cohabiting, if it starts becoming toxic, it's always good to move on. And you never know, people who love you will be coming also to your rescue. That family is also expressed concern about the 22-year age difference between Arao and Oboth, and questioned his employment status, and he also now has no clear work profile, and deceived Ruf also by claiming to be a contractor with also office of the Prime Minister. A family member also has said that, and that local residents also speaking also on conditional anonymity, added that I've heard that even when he is at a bar, his beer is served to him also in his car, and he has always also been carrying pistols. He is either a criminal or a spy, also according to also what the persons who have been speaking on anonymity have also been talking. Now Arao's brother, Amata recalled also that the last conversation with sister Mainis also last spoke to Ruth on November 21st. And she was also, she went missing on November 22nd. And when the case when the same niece also tried calling her on November 22nd, her phone was unreachable. Now to Ibisibe Mototethias, a former classmate at Chambogo University, described Arao as a humble girl, and also as did also David Nkumi, another alumnus, also was also expressed also that she was also the one person who was down to earth. And after body was found dumped in a bush near Bukasa in Kampala suburb, police picked her and authorities buried her in the area Salem Cemetery. And now the family also will later struggle to get what we call a court order to exhume her body, which also was later granted before the body was also taken to Bang village, Ayabi sub-county in Kwania district for burial on Saturday, and she leaves behind a 2-year-old son, and that is exactly what we are seeing. And this is something which also we want to also remind people about, most especially the young graduates. Today we're having a number of them, and at one time also the pressure is going to be mounting on them where they would also want to get married just because of pressure. But we are saying, before you get married to anybody, make sure that this person you are moving out, or maybe you are relating with, is person who you know. You must know them, because many times, sometimes people come disguising and lie to you that they are officials of this nature, they work in this and that. And if at all you are somebody who is desperate, then you are going to be landing in trouble. This goes to the girls, most especially the girl child. We are saying, let's avoid these issues. Let's not be in pressure. Let's get married to the young people, and let's move into relationships also with people whom we know, people who also are not very much bad in the society. And that will also, at the end of the day, make sure that we do not also land ourselves in trouble, and that is also the way to go. And we mean, at the end of the day, that is how we shall be also addressing and also making sure that we do not also enter in such troubles. And that's exactly what we are seeing happening, and we pray for us all to rest in the eternal peace, as we expect police to do their work in carrying out the investigations, and if at all is found guilty, then he must also be taken to serve justice in the courts of law, in prisons, and that is also where we expect him also to face justice. Because if at all we see that happening, then that is quite wrong. Because if you look at the character, according to description of people, he is he's the kind of person who must also be thoroughly investigated. And now that's also how, at the end of the day, we shall be seeing also justice for this young lady who had a great difference. Imagine 22-year-old with a man of 49-year-old. The age difference is quite huge. It means you are going to be having issues where you will be able to disagree at one time. And that's why it is always advisable for young people not to also be in relationships also with people who are too older than them. And that's also at the end of the day where we shall be seeing fights, where we shall be seeing disagreements, where we shall be seeing also these relationships not lasting, because you have a number of issues where you will be also finding it difficult to agree on. Leaving that aside, we did see Minister Kabyanga also saying that he would be able to die for President Museveni, and that's exactly what we did see happening. And President Museveni also, Kaguta has also asked the people of Kasese to reconsider growing cotton and maize with also proper calculations, warning that the practice may also not be economically beneficial given the cost of production, which often surpasses the income and after harvest, and that is the call the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was able to make to the people of Kasese. And Mr. Museveni also, who has been in power since 1986, advised the residents to shift their mindset, utilize the land more effectively and focus on improving household income. And that is also, that's how at the end of the day, this would enhance their social and economic transformation. And the President also already made the remarks on Saturday during a joint also already Thanksgiving ceremony for General Wilson Mbasumbadi, the State Minister for Trade, and Godfrey Baluku Kabyanga, the State Minister for ICT and National Guidance. That was at the Kakuta grounds in Nyakatonzi, Kasese District. And that's exactly what we really see, where Minister Kabyanga says he will be able to die for President Museveni, and that is what we did see. And we hope also that at the end of the day, this also already is possible. Mr. Museveni, so is 80 years, further cautioned the people of Kasese against politics of identity based on tribal lines and also religious lines. And that's exactly what we did see the President already warning about. And if you look at the period, we are actually getting towards that period of elections where people also already will be coming up on board to also already aspire in these different positions. And that's exactly what we are following up on. And we shall be seeing that also becoming possible. And he also commissioned the rehabilitation of that 8.2-kilometer road from Kikorongo to Mponde to join also already Mponde Beni Road, which is in Congo, another road which is under construction to ease trade between Uganda and DR Congo. Now the construction of the road by Dot Service Limited is expected to commence. That is come February 25, and that is exactly what we see. And if you look at the road that also connects to Beni, it is actually one of the roads that is connecting DRC. And today we expect to see that road as also people travel on that road. Also to government also to work on it quickly, because if you look at that road, then definitely it will be also easing, first of all, the movement of goods and services. Recently we did see the Uganda government are saying also that they will be joining hands with the DRC government to work on one of the roads that will be connecting the two countries, and that is what we are keenly following up on, because if you look at Uganda and DRC, we are seeing that we have a lot in common. First of all, when it comes to issues of trade, today we have so many Congolese who are in Uganda looking for trade. Yesterday I was able to interact with these women who sell tomatoes. They actually told me that the tomato that they sell today comes from other areas, but unfortunately it also really is transported directly to Congo, because we have Congolese who come and buy these things in large numbers and take them to DRC, and that's also really where we are likely to have food insecurity in the city. That means we also must also join hands and just make sure that we do not suffer from hunger just because the food that comes from Mbale, that comes from Rukunjiri, that also comes from other parts of the country, which are meant for this region, find themselves directly into DRC and South Sudan, because this is of late what we have been seeing. And that means if at all we see that, then many of our traders are first of all going to be pushed out. Because if you look at our traders, the chain is always long. We have the middlemen who are part of the trade. We have the large scale, what we call the wholesalers. We have the retailers who are the most. So I think it's also proper for us to also be talking about this, because if wholesalers start selling this directly, then it's going to be pushing out many people out of the trade. And that is exactly what we are seeing, because if you look at Congo, today it's actually the main importer of Ugandan goods, and that is how we wouldn't also want to see many Ugandans, most especially our local women, pushed out as a result of also the trade in Congo. And that's exactly what we are following up on, and we hope also at the end of the day this also is possible. Now UPDF receives hepatitis C drugs from Egypt, and that's what we're seeing on the morning paper this morning. This is on the Monitor, where Uganda Post Defense Forces has received a consignment of hepatitis C drugs from Egypt. Also what we are also saying is sufficient to treat, that's 500 patients. And the drugs also were received on Monday by SFC Commander Major General David Mugisha, who represents the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, and Dr. Charles Olaro, from the Ministry of Health. Now, the drugs were delivered by General Mohammed Ashraf of Egypt's General Intelligence Service, which operates the factory that manufactures the hepatitis C drugs. Now, according to estimates, what we did see happen, it estimates also contained the World Health Organization 2024 Global Hepatitis Report, 254 million people were living with hepatitis B, while 50 million were living with hepatitis C, and the African regions also bear 63% of new hepatitis infection. Now, the report so far indicates that the hepatitis C drug also has been diagnosed also 20%, also that's about 12.5 million had received the curative treatment, and statistics also fell from also below the global targets, that's of 80%, and that means hepatitis B still remains a great concern. Now, Brigadier General Patrick Ochen, the UPDF Director for Medical Services, and UPDF say that the drugs received also shall help the officers of UPDF to get enough treatment and get cured of the disease. And if you look at also the military men, they're not also spared out of the sickness, and that means these drugs that have been received will be going towards the soldiers. Now, the drugs from Egypt follows a recent visit by General Mohozi to Cairo, where he held also transaction with the former director, that's General of GIS, that's Major General Abel Kamal on Uganda's needs for hepatitis C drugs. And that means this is also coming up at a point where we did see recently the Chief of Defense Forces also meeting also counterparts in Egypt, and that means this delivery comes in line with that. Now, the reception of these hepatitis C drugs follows Uganda's recent acquisition of drugs and equipment from Egypt to support Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry, and Fisheries in combating foot and mouth disease. That means Egypt today is also really supporting Uganda a lot when it comes to some of these initiatives, and that is where, at the end of the day, we also have to work with them. And leaving that discussion aside, as we're running out of time, a security guard to stand trial over raping woman at shop in Kampala. Very sad and very challenging at the same time, where a 23-year-old security guard is accused of also raping a casual worker. That's at the shop in Unia Plaza, Arua Park in Central Division of Kampala, and this has also been committed to High Court for trial. And the state also the evidence presented before Buganda Road Court, presided over by the Chief Magistrate Ronald Kaizi, indicated that Ronald Mwesije raped the victim for 4 hours as he watched also pornographic also videos on his smartphone at the same shop where the two also worked, and this is quite absurd. Mwesije, who was at the time attached to a private security firm, had also been deployed to guard the shop on the fateful day, and it's alleged that at around 1 a.m. on August 28th of 2023, Mwesije ordered the woman, victim also withheld for now, who was also doing her work outside the shop, to enter the store and picked more carpets for cleaning, and that's exactly what we are. And this is why we see also court had that at the same time, as soon as she entered the storeroom, Mwesije rushed in and closed the door behind him, and that's exactly what we did see also happen. Now, according to DPP, the accused then removed his trousers as well as also the complainant's knickers, and forcefully also had unprotected violent sexual intercourse with her, which lasted also for about 4 hours, and that's exactly what we did see. And now the victim told also court that during the sexual intercourse, Mwesije played pornographic videos on his smartphone, and this is what we are seeing happening. And so that also the victim, also alleged that the actor, so the victim went home and never reported immediately because she feared for her life. And she later also shared her ordeal with her boss, and who also felt bad. And when our boss was repeatedly advised her to report to police, and that is exactly what we did see happening. And that means we must also make sure that these activities are very much bad, and that's also the negative aspect of some of the activities, and that means we must also desist from those activities, and that also is an advice to the young people out there. Let's desist from those practices, because if at all he's found guilty, then he is going to be serving sentence also for long in there, and that is where at the end of the day he will be required also to pay for the bride price, because culturally he's supposed to pay bride price. After even serving justice in there, he's still supposed to pay bride price to the family of this young lady in there, and that is how you will be landing yourself in trouble. That means you should be able to avoid some of these bad practices that would also land you in trouble. With that, we come to the end of this half of the hour. In case you are just joining us right now, you're most welcome to this edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show with me, Farish Majid, and today happens to be the 10th of the month of December. It is the second day of the show for this week, and this is how we are still continuing. Remember, when we come back, we're going to be looking at some of the stories, and we shall be looking at what's happening internationally and as well as in the world of sports. For now, it's a short commercial break.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with Start Times this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars, local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match. And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. Star Times gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas. This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back into the final half of the day's show, and this is still the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV, channel 477 on StarTimes, and on Zuku, that's on channel 3, that is on 0073, and Azam, we are on 369. That means we are always lively online across all the social media platforms. In case you're watching us on all of these platforms, I want to say thank you so much. In case you are watching us on one as well, I want to appreciate you as well, and say thank you so much for always being part of the discussions from Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and earlier on we had a number of issues. And still, we are going to be looking at more, as we want to also keep you informed of what is happening still in the country, and also I will be summarizing the day with what's happening internationally. And we did see Stanbic Bank naming Mumba as its new CEO, and that's something which we are seeing on the monitor this morning. And we did see Stanbic Bank Uganda announcing Mr. Kenneth Mumba Kalifungwa as its new Chief Executive Officer, whose also the term of office will start on March 1st of 2025 in there, and that is exactly what we are seeing. Now the announcement also ends a troubled succession, such that also ran for about 12 months at the country's largest money lender by assets and profitability, and many people also have been asking who could be able to replace and also make sure they become the next CEO of the bank. That means it is now Mumba, and that is how we also want to congratulate him. And that is also something which is happening, and we see retiring also Masindi Kitara Bishop Kasangaki decries biting poverty in Uganda, and this is something which is on a quite sad note. We did see the Masindi Kitara Bishop, that is George William Kasangaki Atwoki, has expressed concern over the persistent poverty in the Masindi district, and in an interview with Monitor, Bishop Kasangaki has said that and the community are still grappling with poverty as also he retires. He also feels that is also the concern he is leaving behind, and that's something also which we feel is quite important for us to be talking about, because if you look at the issues of poverty, many homesteads also they are silently suffering from poverty. It means we must also be able to join hands, because poverty indeed is not a dream, but it's a reality. It is something which indeed is happening within our areas. And I want to make this humble appeal to everyone that indeed, as we are suffering from poverty, there's something we need to do, and also make sure that we also address it. Because if we do not do this, then many of the times also we are going to be having challenges of very many calibers also happening, and that will also at the end of the day be very much bad. And this is something which we feel at the end of the day is very much bad, and at the end of the day also that will be a very big challenge for us in there. And now basically sues Kenya Uganda governments, that is at East African Court, and that's something which we are seeing still on the monitor, where the opposition politician Dr. Karen Okiza, retired BSJ, also sued the government of Kenya and Uganda also over his abduction from Nairobi in Kenya, being also forcefully brought back and arraigned before the military court despite being a civilian. And in a reference also filed before the East African Court, that was in Kampala, on December 4th, Dr. Besje argued that the Kenyan security aided the Ugandan security to carry out also what he called extraterritorial abduction, a move which he says contravenes also what we call several provisions of the Kenya 2010 Constitution and the East African Treaty. And the former personal physician to President Museveni during the guerrilla war also was jointly brought back into the country alongside his colleague Haj Obed Tale Kamulege, and that is exactly what we are seeing also the man feeling unhappy of. Now they do also face charges related to security and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition before the marching the best general court martial, and that's exactly what we are seeing Dr. Kisija Besje also being tried for. Now Dr. Besje and his lawyer Andrew Karamagi, Godwin Toko and Anthony Odur jointly sued the two governments about a fortnight ago. Now Dr. Besje alongside his aide, that's Lutale, was arrested in Nairobi, and which has gained also what we call a notoriety as the theater also of espionage games in East African regions, and that is also something which also many people haven't been well of. Now through his lawyers, that's Aaron Kiza and Mugisha Advocates, Dr. Kiza Besje and Utelo Obdera, each seeking for that shillings 64 million in compensation solely for also this arrest. Now they also want a injunction restraining the government of Kenya from conducting or engaging in also aiding any forced removals or abductions of foreigners from Kenyan territory without due process of the law. That means this is where they are feeling very much unhappy of. But what exactly happened? What could have also gone wrong is also something which also many people also have been feeling very much unhappy of. And remember, Martha Karua, the Kenyan lawyer, also has been rejected also from practicing in Uganda, as the law council also did not also permit her temporary move also for practice in Uganda, and something also which many people also have been able to talk about. And that is how, at the end of the day, that would be very, very much bad. Thieves share loot also with churches, mosques, and that's something which we are also seeing as a report from the IG in there. And that is where as the World Commerce International Anti-Corruption Day, that was on the 9th of December, which was yesterday, the country's Inspector General of Government has called upon Ugandans to step up their fight against the vice that is continuously eroding developments in the country. Now speaking to members of the congregation at Rubaga Cathedral, on Sunday, Ms. Betty Kamia said the government also said that the corruption will not also stop unless everyone gets involved to fight it. And that's exactly what we did see Betty Namisonga Olive also talking about. Now, instead of rebuking the actions of accused corrupt officials, Ms. Kamia also added that some Ugandans tend to publicly defend them, and that's exactly where with this the IGG also feeling very much unhappy of. And Ms. Kamia also spoke about the Vice Chancellor of Kampala Archdiocese, Father Emmanuel Sewaiga, and urged Christians to embrace the Christian season and the Christmas season to also ask for forgiveness and the reconciliation also within the spirit in there. And that is exactly what we did see Betty Namisango Olive also talking about. And we hope at the end of the day, people also take this as serious. And that is how at the end of the day, we want to see also those issues be addressed. Now, diplomats need a lot of counseling, says Oriem. This is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that there is need urgent to make arrangements. That's also to counsel all foreign officials working abroad to address what we call the severe mental health challenges many are facing. And now, in a telephone interview yesterday, Mr. Oriem Henry Okelos, the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, said that the last also 10 days has been also out of the country, has learned that several foreign officials serving abroad have mental issues because there is no process of also integrating them back into the country after working also under difficult conditions already abroad, and that is how they find it very much challenged. Today, as many people also are asking and praying to God to also maybe grant them an opportunity to work at those levels. We are also seeing stories of many of them going through a lot, and that means there's really something that we need to do. Now, according to source, also preferred anonymity to speak freely. I say that sexual harassment manifests in different ways, and that include inappropriate comments and something also which we did see happening. And the source proposed training on sexual harassment awareness and prevention to protect young girls and young diplomats and to enhance their country standing globally. That means sensitization also and training for them is very, very much good, and that is what we are following up and want to see how, of course, this will be ending, and that will also at the end of the day make it possible for those people who are in those countries also making also sure that they also serve the country outside, and that means as they are going through mental cases, counseling is very much good, because many times people may be going through all those issues but without counseling. Prime Minister Nabanja must charm offensive for Dubai-based men to Uganda, where we're seeing the Prime Minister, Robin Nabanja, has made a case for Uganda as a favorable and profitable investment destination with many untapped opportunities, asking Dubai investors to exploit the economic potential in the East African country. And she made the remarks speaking during the meeting also of the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and the Uganda National Chamber of Commerce at Kampala Sheraton Hotel on Monday, where Nabanja said there is a strong bond between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates, also to build a foundation for mutual respect, shared interests, and commitment for peace and prosperity. And yes, indeed, I want to agree, because if you look at Uganda today, also recently we had an engagement also to award people who have also won the Western Equality Brand Awards, where we did see the Director for Finance and Administration, that is also that was a dot of the soil, that is Naham Medino Jale, also asking about people of West Nile sub-region to make sure that they invest in this region, given the fact that also this region is bestowed with a number of opportunities. First of all, the ready market is an opportunity today. We're talking about electricity, which is a bit stable. The land, which is still fast. These are all opportunities for people to also invest in. And that's where we did see how also already making a call in relation to also already what Ms. Nabanja is also making. And that's something which we did see happening. And we hope also at the right time, people of this country will be able to also tap in some of those opportunities. And that will also be very much good for them to make sure also they work also in making sure they get these opportunities in terms of also making sure they achieve what they want. Because if you look at West Nile sub-region, we are blessed with enough opportunities, but with less factories. Today we're having power, because our cry has always been power, 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 power. Because this is at one time where we did see all the leaders of West Nile saying this is what we need. And today we have it. But we are still seeing issues of unemployment being very much high. We are still seeing very few factories in this region. So I think it's only our call now to go back and also really advocate for investments in this region that will also really, at the end of the day, make sure that we achieve what we want. Now, President Ruto also champions technology to tackle youth employment. Now, this is now international stories, where the Kenyan President, William Ruto, has stressed the role of technology and innovation in addressing the pressing challenge of youth unemployment in East Africa. And speaking at the launch of the 4th Kenyan Innovation Week in Nairobi, Ruto emphasized that the strategic investments in technology can empower young people to create their own jobs, reduce inequality, and drive economic growth. And that is exactly what we did see, where he announced that the establishment of 1 billion Kenyan shillings as a startup fund, about 28 billion Uganda shillings, and the implementation of Kenya's 10-year innovation master plan as part of the efforts to support youth-driven startups and foster entrepreneurial creativity. And youth employment remains a critical issue in East Africa, where millions of young people enter the job market annually with limited opportunities. And if you really want to see this, and then try to see how many universities are graduating learners annually, you will realize so that the numbers are quite high, but the available jobs are very few. So that means we also really must make sure that nothing of that happens, and that's also where through innovations we will be able to incorporate many of these young people into the employment sector, and that will also be very, very much good. Now, lawyers urged to embrace artificial intelligence and technology. And that's what we're seeing, where the lawyers have been urged to embrace and adapt the use of arbitration, artificial intelligence, and technology to enhance their services, to improve on efficiency and stay competitive in the modern legal landscape. And if you look at Uganda, we have over 800 professional lawyers from across the East African country. This is where we did see them also gathering to also make sure that they sit and talk about innovation. Today, you cannot not run away from innovation. Innovation is the way to go, and that means we also really must be able to embrace it. And that's where we are going to pause with our discussion for today. But as always, in this remaining few minutes, let's look at what's happening in the world of sports. Starting it off right with the 4 big league. I want to inform you that this league is also really proving to be competitive. But for now, we are seeing them also heading into break. That means we are going to be also seeing them returning back on the 15th of this month. And that means we are seeing them also returning towards the end of the week. But I want to assure you the games are getting competitive. If you look at the stable standings, definitely you will realize that so these games are also getting competitive in a way that all the teams are trying to prove a point that they can still make it. And if you look at the teams from Northern Uganda, I want to say that they're doing well. The table standing also currently is Black Power from Liga. We are seeing them also sitting there comfortable with 19 points. Mythical Calvary from Yumbe District is sitting on the 2nd place with 18 points, and this is also where we did see them also sitting comfortably in there in the 2nd position. Meanwhile, the 3rd position is Gaddafi with 17 points, and Buhimba is in the 4th place with 15 points as on the Proka Football Club, comes in the 5th place with 5 points, and that's how we are seeing that happen. Meanwhile, Boma is in the 6th place with 13 points, and on the Black Angels comes in, that is in the 7th position with 13 points. And that means they can still struggle to make sure that come next season we have at least a team from West Nile sub-region, or 2 even perhaps, to also compete in the Southern Uganda Premier League, which is the top tier Ugandan football in there. And that's exactly what we are still seeing happening. We hope at the right time this will be possible. And now looking at also what's happening in the Southern Uganda Premier League, then definitely you are also the leagues are also really getting up to be difficult, and we are seeing small teams already reviving. Most of the teams that were not performing well at the beginning of the season, we are now seeing them also getting back to prove that indeed they can still do something, and that's exactly what we are seeing. And the games will be returning today, where we shall be seeing UPDF taking on Mbale Heroes, who are recently washed by Kitara Football Club. NEC Football Club will return in action. That's against Bright Stars. Remember, NEC picked their win, which was also against KCA recently. We shall now be seeing Maroons up in against Kitara Football Club. Remember, Kitara has recently also ignited, and Maroons is also another team that is on form, and we shall be seeing that game also returning tomorrow. And tomorrow we shall be seeing SC Villa taking on Police, and this is only some of the games that we shall be seeing coming on in these days in there. And that is how the StarTimes Uganda Premier League, which is the top tier of Uganda Football League, also getting interestingly. And if I can briefly give you a look at the table standings of the StarTimes Uganda Premier League right now, Viper Sports Club is on top of the log with 24 points. NEC Football Club in the second place with 23 points. Kampala Capital City Authority is in the third place with 19 points, as Express Football Club is in the fourth place with 19 points, and Police is sitting on the fifth place with 16 points. And that's how the top 5 is looking like. And meanwhile, at the bottom 3, we are having Waksha Giants with 9 points, Mbale Heroes with 8 points, and Bright Stars is with 6 points. And remember, Kitara Football Club has jumped off the red log. They are now also already in position, also already 13th, just above the red zone in there. And if they pick their win today, they will be also already moving to a comfortable position, also where we may be able to say that this season now we have seen them reigniting. Remember, their star man has not been featuring in the last 2 games. That is Dennis Omedi, who has also been voted for the Puskas Awards. And we are keenly following on to see if at all he will be winning this, and that is how maybe that will be ending. But more of the details to that will be coming through in the Wisho Time with Owen Ezaga and leader Susie, who will be here from 2 to 3 p.m. to give you the results and the details of what is happening right away in the Southern Uganda Premier League. But meanwhile, in the World Champions League, we shall be seeing the games returning, and that means for those who love the games, the night of the men are returning. To the women, if your men don't return early, if they tell you that they're watching football, just understand, because tonight we shall be having the Champions League, which many men do not want to miss out. But before that, last night we had a game that was in the English Premier League that was between West Ham United and Wolverhampton Wanderers, which ended 2-1 in favor of West Ham. And that brings us to tonight's games, where we shall be seeing Dynamo Zagreb taking on Celtic. We shall be seeing Girona taking on Liverpool, as Atalanta will be in action against that's Real Madrid. Meanwhile, Bayer Leverkusen will be taking on Inter Milan. Brest will be taking on PSV Eindhoven. Club Brugge will be taking on CP, that's Sporting CP, as RB Leipzig will be taking on Aston Villa. And we shall be seeing RB also Salzburg up in action against Paris Saint-Germain. Shakhtar Donetsk will be taking on Bayern Munich. And this is how the game that we shall be seeing today. And tomorrow, the Champions League also will be continuing. I will be letting you know some of the games that will be played tomorrow in the morning. With that, we come to the end of the show for today. And I really want to thank you so much who was us right from the time we began until this hour of the morning. I want to thank you so much for watching West Nile Television, because the KOKOLIRIKO live show is always there to keep you informed, entertained, and educated as well, because we are having our mission, that is to enlighten the region. And that means I am not going to be doing it alone. It means we have to do it together, and all of us are stakeholders in terms of achieving that. I want to thank you so much once again, and I will be bouncing back tomorrow for the same program, and I wish you a good day. Let's link up again tomorrow. Up next is the Elas News Bulletin in Liberty with Fete Manuel, who is already here. Stay tuned.